Welcome back to the Agentic AI podcast. Today we're going to do a little bit of necessary time travel. I want you to picture the enterprise landscape, say, in 2026.
Which, let's be honest, in tech years is basically tomorrow afternoon.
It really is, but the landscape, it looks different.
Yeah.
We are, I think, officially declaring the death of the static bot. You know the ones, those rigid, rule-based automation scripts that just, they break the second a variable changes? We're putting those in the rearview mirror. Today, it's all about the era of the AI agent.
And this isn't just a rebrand, it's a fundamental shift in the plumbing of how work gets done. We're not talking about software that just follows a script anymore.
Yeah.
We're talking about systems that observe, reason, and then act.
That's the holy trinity right there. Observe, reason, act.
It is. And that middle part, the reasoning, wow, changes everything. And so today we're unpacking a roadmap that's specifically designed to navigate this shift. We're breaking down the guide to implement AI agents in your business by Nitin Chipper from lowtouch.ai.
And what I really appreciate about this framework is the perspective. It doesn't treat AI agents like some, cool new software tool to play with.
No.
It treats them as digital workers.
That distinction is so crucial. If you think of an agent as a tool, you ask, how do I install this? But if you think of it as a digital worker, you ask, how do I manage this?
Right.
And the guide lays out a 9-step framework for doing exactly that, making sure you have governance, data trust, and, actual operational value. So you don't just end up with a very expensive, very smart toy.
Okay, so before we jump into the 9 steps, let's just establish a baseline. Agent is the buzzword of the year. I mean, how are we defining it in an enterprise context?
I feel like my toaster is being marketed as an agent these days.
Right. Well, in this context, an agent is an autonomous or maybe a semi-autonomous system. But here's the specific breakdown. It observes inputs from its environment, it reasons over that information to figure out what to do, and then it takes actions to achieve a specific objective.
Okay, so how is that different from, say, a really complex Excel macro? A macro is deterministic. It does exactly what it's told, in order. If the data in column A is formatted wrong, the macro just crashes.
Yeah, you're right.
An agent is adaptive. It looks at column A, realizes the format is weird. Maybe it checks an email to see why the vendor changed the format, and then it decides whether to fix it or to flag it for a human. It makes a contextual decision.
So it's kind of a bridge between that rigid automation and human flexibility.
Exactly. It can collaborate with humans. And, crucially for the enterprise, it operates across workflows. It's not stuck in one app. It's moving data between your CRM, your email, your ERP, just like a human employee would.
Which sound amazing, but also a little terrifying if you don't have a plan.
Which brings us to section 1 of the guide, strategy.
Steps 1 and 2. And honestly, step 1 feels like the step everyone skips because they're just too excited to play with the tech. Step 1 is define clear business outcomes.
It's the shiny object syndrome, right? Companies see a demo of an agent doing something cool and they just say, we need that. But they never stop to ask, what specific needle are we actually trying to move here?
The guide makes a great point that without clear goals, you just end up with these fragmented initiatives.
Right. You get a dozen little science experiments. Marketing has an agent, HR has one, IT has one, but none of them are actually driving the bottom line. You have to articulate what the agent is supposed to influence. Is it cost efficiency? Is it service quality? Is it system reliability?
There's a really interesting example here about customer service. I think the default assumption for everyone is speed. We want an agent to answer tickets instantly.
But speed can be a trap. In the scenario we're looking at, the organization didn't optimize for speed. They optimized for response consistency and experience quality.
Why that distinction?
Because if you optimize purely for speed, an AI might, hallucinate an answer just to close the ticket fast. By anchoring the agent on quality, they designed a solution that balanced automation with intelligent human escalation.
So the goal wasn't zero human touch.
No, the goal was better customer experience.
That's a sophisticated nuance. It's admitting that sometimes the best thing an agent can do is say, you know what? I don't know, let me get a human.
Precisely. That is a business outcome. Knowing when to escalate is a skill.
Okay, so once you know why you're doing it, step 2 is select the right use cases. Because not everything needs an agent, right? Sometimes you just need a calculator.
Please just use a calculator. Agents are expensive, computationally speaking. You want to look for specific criteria. Repetitive decisions, high volumes of information, or continuous monitoring. You want to target workflows where manual effort is causing delays or, introducing risk.
The example here is an internal IT team. This one really resonated with me because I've been that annoyed employee waiting for access.
The access request backlog. It's a classic problem. You have these highly paid, talented engineers who spend 4 hours a day clicking approve on password resets or software access requests.
It's such a waste of their talent.
And it burns them out. It does. So this IT team used an agent to manage these routine requests. The agent checks the policy, checks the user's role, and grants access. It reduced the backlog, sure, but more importantly, it freed up the engineers to do actual engineering. It's about the highest and best use of your resources.
Seems obvious when you say it, but identifying those bottlenecks is so key.
Yeah.
So, okay, we have a strategy. We know what we want to do and where we want to do it. Now we have to actually build the thing. This brings us to section 2, the foundation, data, and design.
And step 3 is the one that I think scares most IT leaders. Build a strong data foundation.
This is the unsexy part that kills most AI projects.
We have a saying, there's no AI strategy without a data strategy. Agents need trusted data to reason. If the data is fragmented, old, or contradictory, the agent's reasoning will be flawed.
But isn't that just standard IT hygiene? Why is it specifically so critical for agents?
It's the autonomy. If a human looks at a messy database, they can use their intuition and say, oh, that's definitely a typo. An agent might take that typo as fact and execute 1,000 transactions based on it in 3 seconds.
So it's garbage in, garbage out, but at hyperspeed.
It's garbage in, scalable disaster out. There's a scenario in the guide about a finance operations team. They wanted an agent to review invoices. Sounds straightforward, right?
Yeah, match the invoice to the PO. Simple.
But when they looked under the hood, they found their vendor records were a total disaster. Duplicate names, old addresses, inconsistent payment terms. If they had deployed the agent on that mess, it would have been flagging everything as an error, or worse, approving payments to the wrong people.
So the agent project actually forced them to clean their house first.
Exactly. They had to fix the data before deployment. And once they did, the agent worked beautifully, reducing exceptions and improving accuracy. But the lesson is, data readiness is a prerequisite. You just cannot skip it.
Moving to step 4. Choose the right agent design model. I found this fascinating because it implies there isn't just one type of agent. It's not one size fits all.
No, and you really need to right-size the intelligence. The framework distinguishes between simple reactive systems, which are deterministic and advanced reasoning-driven workers, which are adaptive.
Let's break those terms down. Deterministic versus adaptive.
Deterministic basically means if X, then Y. It's predictable. It follows a flow chart. Adaptive means here's the situation, figure out the best path to the goal.
So if I'm building a chatbot to just tell me my vacation balance, that's deterministic.
Yes. You don't need a large language model to ponder the philosophical nature of time off.
Right.
You just need it to query a database. But if you have a sales support agent that needs to analyze a prospect's email, look at their company news, and draft a personalized reply, that requires reasoning. That's adaptive.
The guide warns against using the Ferrari when all you need is the sedan.
Because complex reasoning introduces variance, it's less predictable. If the risk profile of the task is high or if the task is really rigid, stick to a simpler model. It's cheaper, it's faster, and usually more reliable for those specific tasks.
So we've got the strategy, the data, the design. Now we have to plug it in. Section 3, integration and interaction. Step 5, integrate into enterprise systems.
This is the silo problem. I mean, we've all worked in companies where nothing talks to anything else. An agent fails if it operates on an island. For an agent to be a digital worker, it needs hands. It needs to be able to reach into your applications, your knowledge systems, your operational tools to actually do the work.
The HR onboarding example really drove this home for me. Onboarding is usually a nightmare of 20 different tabs, open email, payroll, Slack, security, policy docs.
It's alt-tab hell.
It is.
Yeah.
So how did the agent fix that?
The agent in this scenario was given integrations across all those systems. It could check the policy database, email the manager for approval, and update the payroll system directly. It acted as the orchestration layer.
So instead of the human being the glue holding these systems together,
The agent becomes the glue.
the agent becomes the glue.
Exactly. If the agent couldn't integrate, it would just be a chatbot saying, please remember to email your manager, which isn't helpful. We want doer systems, not just reminder systems.
Now, step 6 is interesting. Prioritize human-centered interaction. We're building these for humans to use after all. But I feel like engineers often forget the human part.
They do. Adoption depends entirely on trust. If the agent is confusing, opaque, or just plain annoying, people will not use it.
There was a great example of a failure here, or a stumble. A knowledge assistant that people weren't using because it was too chatty.
It was too verbose. You'd ask it a simple question, and it wrote you a doctoral thesis. The cognitive load was just too high. So the team shifted the design to provide concise, context-aware responses, and suddenly adoption shot up.
It's funny, we expect AI to be smart, but we also need it to be brief. Nobody wants a coworker who takes 20 minutes to answer a yes or no question.
We all have that coworker. Don't build an agent that acts like that coworker. The interaction design has to match the workflow. Sometimes you need an essay, but usually you just need the answer.
Okay, so we've designed it, integrated it, made it user-friendly. Now comes the scary part, turning it on.
Mhm.
Section 4, deployment and governance. Step 7, deploy gradually and iterate.
The big bang launch is so dangerous. You do not want to flip a switch on Monday morning and have an agent managing 100% of your customer traffic.
Because no matter how well you design it, you missed something.
You always miss the edge cases. The real world is just messier than your training data. The example given was an operations monitoring agent. It looked great in testing, but when they rolled it out, they found these edge cases where the agent was either over-escalating minor issues, waking people up at 3 a.m. for no reason, or under-escalating big ones.
And you only catch that by starting small?
Right, you roll it out to 5% of traffic, you watch it, you tune the logic, then 10%, then 50. It's a phased rollout. You treat it like a new hire, you know? You don't make the intern the CEO on day one.
Which leads directly into step 8. Monitor performance and maintain governance.
Yeah.
And this isn't just about, is the server running?
No. Technical uptime is easy. We're talking about business outcomes and compliance. Is the agent making the right decisions? Is it hallucinating? Is it staying within its guardrails?
The compliance agent scenario here is really critical. They built an agent to flag potential risks, but they specifically didn't let the agent have the final say.
That's a specific governance choice. They decided that for compliance, the risk of getting it wrong was just too high, so they kept a human in the loop. The agent does the heavy lifting of sifting through millions of data points, but the human provides the final judgment.
It seems like a vital safeguard. You get the speed of the AI, but the accountability of the human.
And that's where the trust comes from. If you can't explain why an agent made a decision, or if you can't intervene, you have a governance failure. You need an emergency stop button, and you need audit logs that actual humans can understand.
Right, let's look at the future now. We've deployed it, it's working. Step 9, enable continuous learning.
This brings us right back to that digital worker concept. Your human employees learn and adapt. Your digital workers must do the same.
Why? Why can't I just set it and forget it?
Because of drift. Data drifts. Regulations change. Systems get updated. If you treat an agent as a one-off script, it will rot. It's like a car. If you don't change the oil, eventually the engine seizes.
The supply chain scenario provides a perfect example of this drift. Vendor relationships change constantly.
Right. Maybe a vendor's lead time changed from 2 weeks to 4 weeks. Or maybe there's a new tariff on a specific material. If the agent doesn't learn that new fact, it's going to keep promising delivery dates you can't possibly meet.
So it's useless.
The agent needs to ingest that new context to remain useful. You have to have a mechanism for it to update its own knowledge base, or at least a process for humans to update it regularly.
So you're treating them as long-lived assets that require maintenance.
And training, yeah, just like your human workforce.
The guide also briefly touches on the tools required for this. It mentions private AI appliances and private AI infrastructure. This sounds expensive, but probably necessary for the enterprise.
It's all about control and security. For many enterprises, think healthcare, finance, defense, you can't just send all your sensitive data to a public cloud model. You need on-site or private VPC deployments. You need a secure environment where the agent lives, where you control the data and the weights of the model.
And it mentions building an AI center of excellence.
Which is really just fancy talk for build a team that knows what they're doing. This isn't just an IT ticket. It's a core organizational capability. You need people who understand prompt engineering, data governance, and model monitoring to oversee this digital workforce.
So we've walked through all 9 steps, from defining the outcome all the way to keeping the agent learning. It's a lot. But when you look at this entire roadmap from Nitin Chibber, what's the big synthesized takeaway for you?
The core philosophy is that implementing AI agents is not about replacing people. It is about Amplifying human capability.
Amplification. I like that
Mhm.
word. It moves the conversation away from fear and toward productivity.
Well, the organizations that invest in this thoughtful implementation, the ones focusing on governance, trust, and integration, they're going to operate faster and more resiliently. It's the difference between having a team of people drowning in busy work versus a team of people supported by digital workers who handle the noise so the humans can focus on the signal.
It really does redefine what a team even looks like. And that brings me to a thought I want to leave everyone with. We've talked a lot about the how-to, but I want you to think about the what then.
Oh.
If agentic AI represents this next evolution of work, how does the very definition of management change? We're used to managing people, empathy, motivation, career growth. But in 5 years, if half your team are digital workers agents that never sleep, that process data instantly, but still need guidance, specific instructions, and strategy, what does it even mean to be a good manager?
That is the billion-dollar question. The best managers of the future might be the ones who are best at conducting this orchestra of human and digital talent, knowing which solo to give to the human and which rhythm section to give to the AI.
Exactly. It's a whole new skill set.
It is. And for those listening, the time to start building that skill set is now. Don't just read about agents. Start sketching out that step one. What is the business outcome you actually need?
Start small, but start with structure. That's the agentic AI way. Thanks for diving deep with us on the guide to implement AI agents. We'll catch you on the next one.